Okay, thank you everybody for attending this evening. To start with apologies, just to let everyone know, we've just received apologies from Nathan as well, due to travel and work, so he's not going to make it this evening either. And the other apologies we've got are Ian Moore, Susie Sherritt, Councillor Richmond, Councillor Bland. Do we approve those apologies? Three of them were in the book already, so. Well, thank you. And members of the public, if there's any questions to council or comments they'd like to make? Yeah.
I attended the PAC meeting on the 31st and I asked the two PCOs that were there why you were no longer being provided with the crime statistics for the borough. And they said, yeah, they're not supplying it because basically you're the only parish they were supplying it to. But they did state that they give it to Wakefield and that the councillors there get it. So therefore, do you get that?
It's done by ward,
Yeah.
so it's not broken down to the parish, which is what they used to break down to the parish council.
No, I was wondering if you got it, you could supply it, but...
So I don't get a broken down one for just Ackworth. I get one. We get one for like Ward 1, so that includes Upton, Thorpe, Bordle and Badsworth, so the district councillors do get that.
Okay. Well, they couldn't give us a reason why they suddenly stopped it, apart from they thought they were the only ones that were giving it. But when you go on the internet, you can find other people that seem to be getting statistics, but I can't find anything for this year. So I don't know whether it's stopped totally.
I don't know, we were just told the same,
Yeah.
same thing you got as well.
Okay.
So yeah, any other comments or questions? No? Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to the main agenda. So, item 2, declarations of interest and dispensations. So, receive any declaration of interest not already declared under the Council's Code of Conduct or members register of disposable pecuniary interest on items on the agenda. Are there any members that need to declare any interest on items on the agenda? Because I know that we might need to disclose if we've got interest on items to do with SIL and that sort of thing. It's part of item 4. Sorry.
The next one.
That's the next one.
Oh, okay, sorry. To receive, consider and decide upon any written applications for dispensation of disclosable pecuniary interest. So that's these two, yeah. John and Sharon for, and that's for the SIL applications that have gone through. Thank you. And then to council to grant any request for dispensation as appropriate. So are we still okay for both councillors to still?
Discussion on the chair, just so it's clear.
Yeah, discussion on, but yeah, that's what. So are we still happy for them both to discuss and vote on the items to do with the SIL? And I believe that's to do with the low Ackworth things that have been put in. Can I have a show of hands in favour that we're happy to do on that? So we've got 4 in favour. Abstentions? Votes against? 2 votes. Okay, that's carried. So you can still comment on the low Ackworth when we get to item 12. Okay, thank you. To receive available reports from the following, so district councillors. So my own report, verbal again. Quite recently, only last week, I had a walk around the ward, including Ackworth, with the MD of Wakefield Council to go through various issues that are still outstanding and which have been held, which in my view have been held up by Wakefield Council that we kind of need them to move on. So things such as the Low Ackworth lease, I definitely raised flooding issues down in Low Ackworth as well. I raised with him as well Dando Way, because I know last year as part of the Do That scheme where it's nature isn't neat, and then they're just sort of like, in my view, abandoned down their way a little bit, so to make sure that that was kept on top of and kept maintained, because it's a good throughway for the village and so on. And basically that's the main update that we've got on that. Have we had anything else from the other district councillors? No. And the issue, I'm still waiting on a response from Alan regarding the wreaths at the War Memorial, because I know that that was raised previously. But I have noticed as well, like from doing the walk round, other councils have like a chain that goes round the War Memorial, so that might be something we have to look into. Maybe as Parish Council we can look into that to secure the wreaths. So, and it might be that issue that comes back, but nothing official yet. And just another thing I raised with the MD was the Quarries Community Centre as well, just to see if there's any movement that can be done there, but obviously that's dealing with Strasbourg as well, so there might not be much on it. And yeah, that's everything from district councils. So 3.2, council representatives on outside bodies. Are there any reports? Yeah.
Well, the only I didn't manage to get to the PAC meeting, unfortunately, so I can't report on that.
Yeah.
Although I gathered they couldn't really say a great deal, so I don't think there would have been a lot to report if I had been. But I attended the Ackworth United Charities committee last week, and to be fair, there isn't really anything to report there. They're looking after the almshouses, everything's fine. They've got one empty, but they've got somebody probably ready to move in, but they're just sorting repairs and renovations each time one's empty on top of everything else they're doing. So that's really about it.
Yeah. Everything's working on.
Yeah, it seems so. But yeah, the heritage group's this Thursday, so we haven't got anything to report.
Sure. No worries, thank you. Any other outside bodies to report?
So a meeting with the local community centre on 20th of January.
Yeah.
Where obviously the current state of the building is discussed.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Any other reports? No? Okay. Item 4, so consider for approval of the minutes of the Parish Council meeting held on 13th of January 2025 with a true and correct record. So I get a proposer and seconder then, please. John and Sarah. Thank you. Are there any comments first on those minutes? No? Can I get votes in favour of accepting those then, please? Full house. Thank you. Item 5, committee meeting minutes. To receive the minutes of the Village Amenities Committee meeting held on the 27th of January 2025 and approve the recommendations with them. Can we get a proposed and seconded then, please? Sharon? I'll put myself forward. It's not often to do that. So myself and Sharon. Any comments on those minutes? Yeah, Andy?
I just wondered if we knew what the date of the tractor run is. I know we're not, this is like we're accommodating yet, but I just wondered if we did know the date. For the item 9, where we've been requested to use Carbridge for the tractor run.
We think May.
I think it's in May.
Right, okay.
I can circulate it tomorrow. I can't remember the date. I can circulate it tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll just put that as a separate note to the minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have a post.
I know it got clashed with a few other things. Can we get votes in favour then, if there's no more comments, so accepting those minutes? Full house. Thank you. To receive the minutes of the Finance and General Purposes Committee meeting held on 27th January 25 and approve recommendations with them. Can we get a proposed and second for those one, please? Sarah and Lynn. Any comments? I know it's like a big committee, so I'd like to give it a bit more. Okay, if there's no comments, can we get votes in favour of accepting those and the recommendations? We've got a full house here, thank you very much. Item 6, to receive burial rights. We've got,
It's just the 3 chair.
yeah, just the 3 on the supporting notes. And I'll move on to financial matters, because we're receiving those. 7.1, to receive and consider for approval the accounts, including bank statements to the end of January 25. So we've got them. Have you had any submissions? No queries? Can I get a proposal and seconder for approving the account? Amanda and Lynn, thank you. Are there any comments? I think we're going to be done for after this bit. Can I get votes in favour though, please? Full house again, thank you. 7.2, to receive and consider for approval payments to be made by cheque or cash, and they're just about to hand it out.
So there's a cash in the back and there's the payments to the statement.
Spare there too.
Please don't mix us up ever again.
Can I get a proposer and seconder for the petty cash? Once we're ready. Sarah proposing. John seconding. Are there any comments? Sorry, I realised I might be going a bit quick. Retrospective approval. The first.
Yes.
That's one quick question. You know the music licence that's £1,300, it says Bell Lane, would that cover all of the venues? So we can,
Yeah, and it's reflective of all the new groups that we've got as well, because we've had quite a few
yeah.
fitness groups and music groups that have joined us.
So it covers all the
Gala,
yeah. Brilliant.
Okay, so we've got a proposal and seconder. Can I get votes in favour of accepting this? Full house, thank you. Item 8, consider and decide upon the following planning application. I'll come to one. Oh, sorry. I'll come to Jack first.
I've included this on councillors because it's come through again, but you actually as council did review it in November, and no action was taken on it at the time. I can only assume, and it is an assumption, that maybe an internal process at Wakefield Council has not been actioned, and that's where it's reappeared with a new deadline date, which is probably what Andy may well be about to say.
Yeah. This.
No.
No, well, I did email Gemma this afternoon because, to be fair, I'd looked at it over the week. You know, I don't see it as an urgent thing on Thursday night to look at these.
Understandable.
And so I was a bit puzzled because, yeah, we did. They've redone the drawings a little bit. I couldn't see what's different. But that often happens, and we've never been asked before, so I don't know why we have been this time. So, but yeah, I would say there's nothing wrong with it at all. Though I will just add, there was one as well that maybe just didn't fit timing-wise. One of the houses just this side of Station Road, on the other side to the school, they're looking to get new windows in, but I think the only issue would be if listed statuses have impacted, and they've done all of the architectural stuff, and they look absolutely fine to me. So, but just if anybody noticed it, I don't think there's any reason we would need to comment. If heritage people think it's all right, and if they don't, it's not.
Yeah.
So I don't think it impacts on us at all. So, but I just thought I'd mention that one because there's not been anything. There's been very little. The building industry must be quiet in the village.
So yeah, we'll just note those then.
Yeah.
And move on. Item 9 then, council resignations. So 9.1, to note the resignation of Councillor Maiden as representative to the PAC meetings. There is a note regarding that we've still got 2 councillors, so there isn't like a full requirement, but if anyone would like to step in, I'm more than happy to take, but we've got another 2 councillors already. Or do you 2 think we need another person as well?
I don't
You okay?
think so. Yeah. Normally I can go, but I was just
We've got a full.
too busy last Friday.
We'll be re-looking at it in May or
Yeah. No, it's
around
fine.
that time as well.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so we'll make a note of that. 9.2, to note the resignation of City Sheriff from the allotment subcommittee. And then to follow that, 9.3, to elect a member to the allotments subcommittee. Are there any volunteers for the allotment subcommittee? I know it's normally 10 AM on a Friday when it meets, which is a bit difficult for some people. Sorry, Sarah.
I'm not volunteering.
Just commenting.
Because I'm already on it. Will we be quorum without Susie? Will we have enough people?
That's what I was just about to state, Chair, is that at the moment membership is 4 and 3 is quorum. It is struggling. So if there isn't any volunteers, this might be one where we look to maybe merge it with village amenities or something if we're struggling for members, because it does fall under an amenity.
Okay.
I would be worried with only 3 members.
Right, okay.
So is that a proposal to merge it with?
It just might be if we can't do this, I might need to put it on a later agenda for a review.
I mean, would you, for re-electing onto the subcommittee in May again anyway, certainly in the short term I might be able to fill that at the moment, so I'll put my name forward then, certainly up until May. Can I just get...
May 7th is... March 7th is the next one. I've just been looking.
Right, okay.
So I'll propose.
Yeah, thank you. A proposal and seconder for me then.
Yeah, second.
Because, and all in favour of that one volunteer. That's right, excellent, thank you. Back to you now, by the way, yeah. Okay, item 10, to consider movement of the date for the parish assembly from the 14th of April to the 28th of April 25, and that's to do with it clashing with Easter half term and holidays and bank holidays.
That's one of the reasons, Chair. The other reason is it was on the agenda previously, I think, by Councillor Andy Sherritt to suggest moving it so that there was more time where it wasn't on the same night as a council meeting. So we'd still go ahead with the full council meeting on the 14th of April and then we'd do the parish assembly because it falls within the parameters later that month, if approved.
Yeah. Can I get a proposal and a seconder for that? So Sharon proposing, seconder, Lynn seconding. Any comments? I'll just go to the votes in favour then, please. Full house. Very good. Okay, so item 11. To receive an update from Ackworth Parish Council solicitor regarding the Low Ackworth playing fields lease.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Gemma. Yeah.
So, Wakefield Council into the new year have struggled with resource, and there's a few different elements that I've been tracing with them, the lease being one of it. Their latest update that was received just this Wednesday was from their solicitors, their internal in-house solicitor, to our solicitor. And basically, in a nutshell, they've apologised for the delay, and they have said, they've confirmed that they're clarifying final instructions. So it's not the biggest of updates, but it does show progress, that it is back on their radar moving forward, so I'll continue to chase that down, and I would hope that we would look to see a draft version for the March meeting.
Yeah.
Short and sweet, Chair.
Short and sweet. I'm not sure what we can put with all that. It is what it is, but any comments? Obviously, it's just disappointing. Yeah, it's just disappointing how long it's taken, and it just feels like we're getting messed around a little bit.
Well, we've just got the Christmas lights down, so that's been a win. So Low Ackworth please can be the next win. They've been really under-resourced.
Yeah.
I think the higher ones are still there on the tree, aren't they?
They're usually staying all year round but not illuminated. But we've only literally just got the high street ones down through chasing straight after
That's
Christmas.
still on, it's quite cheerful, isn't it?
Oh well.
Lights on.
I know that's received, Chair. Thank you.
Yeah, so just receiving that then. To review, item 12, to review submitted proposals for council consideration in line with the current unallocated civil money and decide a course of action. In our packs we got the list of suggestions, so I thought it'd probably be best to go through them one by one, and we might be able to narrow some of these down. I know that Gemma sent out an email, was it Friday?
The non-eligible ones.
The non-eligible. Today,
Yeah.
sorry, that's today.
Wakefield
So,
Council confirmed, yeah.
so there's two that are in this list that aren't eligible, they don't meet the SIL criteria essentially. And that's to do with the highways traffic calming and the street lighting, and they just don't meet the SIL funding. So, but yeah, we can still discuss them. We might want to look at other actions or something like that, defer like discussion to highway, to our road safety committee, that sort of thing.
Could you just say those two again? I was looking for the email.
Oh, sorry. So essentially, in the list, so it's suggestion 1 and suggestion 4.
Okay.
So it's basically the traffic calming and the lighting / resurfacing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Joe, before you start, I can probably just let you know that the two actually that have come back as not eligible, I had already provisionally thought that they weren't eligible and let the residents know, and both actually are on agendas currently being reviewed. So the first one is about High Ackworth traffic calming, which we know has been a hot topic anyway, and that member of the resident would like to be involved in anything we do through environment road safety moving forward. And then the other one around the street lighting and resurfacing, there's actually a planning application in that if it's accepted, separate to this, but if it's accepted that would resolve that issue anyway. So the resident is aware and is aware that it was likely not to be eligible, but I only had that confirmation back today.
Okay, that's some updates on two of them. That kind of I think that'll narrow the list down anyway. So we'll start with the bridge repair. So the second suggestion, which was so there's like a public footpath, and it's the little wooden bridges that go over some of the backs, I believe, to my understanding, from the pack. So this is one of the ones that is eligible. So essentially what I'm thinking is that we narrow the list down in terms of what's coming through, and we can progress them forward, and then we can look into them in more detail going forwards. So yeah.
On that one?
Yeah, on that one, yeah.
Well, the resident does say in the thing on the table, it says, I'm aware it will not meet the criteria for the minimum 5,000 spent by the council. But I know that some time ago, quite some time ago, and obviously things change, the footbridge down, there was a footbridge down on the footpath that goes to the Six Arches.
Yeah.
And that was repaired, and that was done through some environmental funding. It was Derbyshire. So anyway, so I think there is funding out there. So maybe we could work with the residents, say we, so work with the residents to try and seek funding to do it. Because funding like that kind of funding needs to be applied for by a group, doesn't it, a body, not an individual. And maybe the councillors' funding pot might
Yes.
stretch in the next budget year maybe. But
Yeah.
again, it would have to be an application from a formal body, wouldn't it? I am aware of that, not an individual.
Yes. So yeah, I was on the same lines as that as well. Andy?
Well, I wanted to say, I think it's a good idea. Appreciate it's not necessarily sell, but from a personal perspective, there's something very similar running along the bottom end of Mount Pleasant that could do with exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's not actually over a beck; it's over an incredibly muddy bit, and
Yeah.
you know, and it's been decrepit for ages. It's kind of the field opposite Car Bridge. It's the bit that runs behind the houses at the bottom of Mount Pleasant. So, if we were looking at it, could we add that one to the list as well? Because I'm sure plenty
Yeah.
of residents would appreciate that.
Sorry, Andy.
There might be others as well, but that's one I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Amanda?
was going to suggest that we should actually create a walk and name a walk, and then present it as a proposal to Wakefield Council, that they then, if it's an official walk and we have some signposting, we can get some grant money to actually maintain it as a footpath. And Ackworth is really good for walks, so all we've got to do is string them together in a big loop, and you can call it the Ackworth Circle.
All the damage bits.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then, I think if it's got if we have a named walk, we're more likely to get some funding
Yeah.
to repair all the
Yeah.
bridges on the walk.
And they're almost all damaged, wherever you go on there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's
Well,
very
it'll
true.
be on
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the Wakefield Way,
Yeah.
you've got the Wakefield Way, and then there's a pot of money to maintain it. So if we have an Ackworth Way, presumably there'll be some funding that we can tap into.
Yeah. Definitely. Sarah, yeah.
I think that's a great idea, and I would expect there'd be a number of people, quite a number of keen walkers in the village who would be, happy to get involved, and maybe even lead on it to apply for funding.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a lot of work involved, I think, isn't there? Mapping and photographing and that kind of thing.
So would I be right in, so I'm just trying to summarise, so it's not quite for self-funding, but we'd like it to be explored via other funding means, and would we want one of the committees to look into it, whether it be amenities or something like that? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Amenities, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless it's environment or amenities.
I know it's
Yeah.
Where do we shove it?
Yeah.
Just under environment check.
Under environment?
As
Yeah.
the investigative stage, yeah.
Okay.
I'll have a word with Virginia Moulton at
yeah,
Wakefield.
yeah.
in charge
She's
of
still
the-
there?
I don't know.
So if we defer that one to environment, road safety and planning,
Yeah.
and we can explore, we can look into what different funding options are and send inquiries through to myself, as district councillor and the other district councillors as
Okay.
well.
We could probably ask the residents if they know of any other things that could do with repairing
Yeah,
as well.
Yep, got
is that
Yeah,
good? Isn't that
that's
it?
fine.
Can I just get votes in favour of doing that then for that item? Yeah, thank you. So the next one, suggestion 3, and there's quite a few that also follow, they're along the same lines. Basically, the law of using that, and there's already self-funding allocated to Low Ackworth, so it would be a further contribution would be unallocated to top that up. So yeah, and there's been a number of submissions. I know one, if they, I can't remember. Is it in there? Yeah, it's, I know I've seen it somewhere.
There's a formal.
So there's been eight suggestions that are all about Low Ackworth getting further SIL funding from out of the suggestions that have been submitted. So yeah, would anyone like to, and obviously Sharon and John do have an interest on this, but we're allowed to vote and discuss because we've voted on that at the beginning. Any comments on please?
I mean,
Amanda, yeah?
I think there could be much more deserving cause when you look at the state of the building, and that is a chunk of the village down there. We have quite a lot of elderly people down there. It was fully booked the whole time, and people were trying to host events there, even though it was pretty shabby. It's kind of a bit of a disgrace to the village of it. That's the best we can do, and obviously it's a polling station as well.
Yeah.
So, for my money, it's a critical need that we do get that back on track.
You just reminded me of a further update for the Wakefield councillors, but if once that centre reopens, it will be a polling station in its own right for Low Ackworth, and High Ackworth will have St Cuthbert, so there'll be two polling stations now. That's officially gone through. I did say
So St Cuthbert's needs a new floor then, doesn't it?
So the High and Low Ackworth ward will be sort of split for the elections. So it'll keep it easier for residents, which I think is an important aspect. But we need the centre back up for Low Ackworth. That's the main thing. Are there any other comments on that one? Stephen, yeah?
I think until we see a final release as to what council are running to action, it's going to be very difficult to go forward with anything really.
I understand what you're saying there. I don't think they're going
It needs
to.
to be done, yeah, but
It needs doing.
We need.
I totally agree. We need the lease, but I don't think we're going to. I think the lease will be covered. Obviously, we've got issues with that, but that's personally my opinion on.
I think the overwhelming evidence from the public response, not just from people who are involved in it, but people who want to see a community centre down there, is that we definitely need to spend the money on the community centre. And I think that we've already allocated some CIL money to that. And I just think if we could allocate this tranche of money to it, pending the receipt of a lease, as is the other one, then we can pencil it in, so that when we get the lease, then we can start moving forward.
Yeah.
And earmark that money for, earmark that money for the local community centre build, so that it's got a good fund to start looking around. There's lots of work being done by the group, by the committee already, looking at building types and things like that. So, you know.
Obviously, the original plan we were pursuing hasn't.
Well, the original plan we were pursuing
unfortunate,
obviously turned out to be not feasible, and
yeah,
£750,000 is a lot, much more than we
yeah,
ever get. So we've kind of scaled it down a bit and looking at more realistic, financially more realistic options. So this will be a massive thing for Low Ackworth and for the whole of the village. I think if we could get funding towards that, and that would show that the Parish Council were fully in support of it.
yeah.
Chair, just as RFO and not as clerk, SIL funds are held within our bank accounts. They're not released to any group that it's allocated to. Allocating is a process. So if there was for any reason an issue with the lease and it didn't come, which I believe it will, as you've seen from the update, the funds wouldn't go, they would come back to council to rediscuss. So the funds that were already allocated to Low Ackworth are still in our bank account. Low Ackworth don't have them, Low Ackworth Community Association don't have them. So once we do get the lease, which as I've said, I'd like to see it in March, then our current live action is as soon as we get that lease, we as a council have an instruction in place to call the community centres working group, and as soon as we call that meeting, that's when we'll have the lease and that's when it will move forward again. So I just wanted to reassure everyone in the room that the money today that's being allocated is a system allocation and a process from the council.
Yes. That's how I understand it as well. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah. The cell fund, is there a date put on it that it has to be spent by?
There is always dates that come through. This particular sum money, we're not at an expiry date. I don't know what the date is off the top of my head, but I know it's not expiring. This is as a procedural thing. Sorry, I've just answered that.
No, thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'll take what John's just said as a proposal then, and I'll take you as the proposer for that. So that's to propose that the unallocated SIL funding pending lease goes to Low Ackworth. Can we get a seconder for that? Amanda? A seconder?
Shouldn't we look at all of them before we say that
Oh,
we're going
sorry,
to allocate
sorry.
it to one of them?
So yeah, it was to put it.
Yeah, but no, I get that, but the wording didn't quite come across that way.
Sorry, yeah. So yeah,
I mean, we were going home very early at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to go to the next stage, just to confirm
Yeah.
once we've sort of like, it will cover off quite a number of them, because
Yeah.
quite a
Yeah,
lot do
no,
cover
that's
Low Ackworth.
fine, yeah, just,
But yeah, it's just one of the, it meets the SIL criteria, it can go forward, and it's one of the ones we want to consider
Yeah.
for that.
okay.
Yeah, thank you. So votes in favour of
Sorry, Chair, I missed the proposal and seconder.
Amanda as seconder and John proposing.
Yeah, thank you, Chair.
So votes in favour of Low Ackworth being one of the considerations for the SIL. All in favour, thank you. Okay, so the next one is the street lighting, which we've already had meeting criteria for SIL allocation. So we'll move on to the village monument. Just in my view, having sort of like looked at that, it doesn't necessarily say what the monument would be. Is it a step? I don't know. So I think it's sort of a bit vague. I'm not saying no to the idea. I just think it needs more discussion and more detail there. So that would be my opening comments. Jeremy?
I did ask the resident to submit further information, but I didn't receive a response back. So that one has come through as not a costed option.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that. I thought one of our criteria was they were supposed to be fully costed.
That's our criteria.
So, yeah.
As a council criteria that was set, not a SIL criteria.
Yeah. So I think in general, I think that in terms of allocating SIL money to that project, I think we won't do that. But I would like to see that item maybe discussed a little bit further, and we could, and the committee might, that it goes to, it either be environment or amenities. Amenities. So if we defer that actual item to amenities to discuss further, and there might be actions to go to Wakefield Council and that sort of thing. Because I know that they are doing, a number of places around the districts have got murals at the minute, so they have had some funding through for things like that, so it might link in with that sort of thing, and we might be able to tap into that. So I think that there are some possibilities there just for a wider discussion, but it would just be a general discussion, so that'd be my suggestion I'd put forward for that one. Sarah, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, when we do, it might be useful if we decide we want to move forward with it. I'm sure it would be useful to talk to Featherstone Town Council people and find out where the funding came from for the Warhorse, which I would expect it costs a lot more than £32,000.
Yes.
But I doubt if it all came from Town Council funds.
I just
don't know.
Yeah, I know there are some grants at the minute, and a
Yeah.
number of places have got the murals, haven't they? So,
Yeah.
and we've got a great big billboard on Wakefield Road that I've already eyed up that could have a right big mural on that, couldn't it? Don't know if people would like that. Someone could repair it, can't they? I'm sure. There's some DIY people somewhere. So that would be my suggestion. Are we in agreement that that could be deferred as an item for discussion to amenities? Just show of hands for that one. Yeah, thank you. So the next one is, I've kind of like listed it as, it's kind of got 6 suggestions, one of them being outdoor gym equipment. That's already been sort of dealt with, and we're going to have gym equipment along Dando Way anyway, so that can be neglected. And then there's like other suggestions, such as the community centres, the multi-use games area, working with the schools and local businesses, and there's land in between the co-op and the main roads and those sorts of things. Personally, I think this is all something that could go to environment or amenities.
Yeah.
Do we agree with that?
I was just going to say the first one on the list is the one that we've got the office team suggestion, which I presume we're discussing as part of it. Oh, and they all seem like good ideas, really.
Yeah,
but they need it. You know, there isn't one on there. I'd say, oh no, we mustn't do. You know, they all look good, but they're not costed, and it's a hell of a list to do for 30,000 quid.
It's not going to build a skate park, is it?
No. I'm got involved in one of those, and no, it's the simple answer.
Yeah.
Great as it would be.
But in general, if that could be moved to amenities, maybe discussed further and looking. I know we've looked into the BMX sort of like bike park before, haven't we? It's difficult to get it started.
We lacked community engagement, that was the thing.
Yeah.
There wasn't the ground support.
John and then Gemma.
We were looking into the BMX development. Previously, the same people that were supporting us on that a few years ago, the same people who've done the one at Fitzwilliam.
Yeah.
So they were spending all their time
Well,
doing
just
that, so that's kind of taken. And since we're going to be kind of linked, eventually, you know, we're going to be linked with that area, and I think it might be something that we don't necessarily need in this end of the village. In this village,
Well, I was going to say, I'll just add to that because I'm now on that committee that's doing that, and so they are focusing on that, and they would love to do them all around the district, and you know, at some point maybe have one because they would be connected so that people can ride around the district, going to track. So, but that's not at the moment because they're very busy on Fitzwilliam. So
like the walking route linking all the broken bridges. We're going to have a
Yeah, but Hare Green will be there.
Gemma.
Yeah, mine was just to say, I did communicate with this resident. It's somebody that's really well known in the village and really wants to get involved. So actually, in communicating, they understood that it had that many ideas that to cost all of them would probably be a bit too much. But they're happy to have councillor engagement and it be reviewed, and if there is a councillor that wants to work with that resident to cost things up, they're more than happy to do that or fund it. So that person was very positive.
Excellent. Yeah. So defer. Sorry, John.
Could you just suggest then that this resident puts this proposal into some kind of proposal form that we take it forward to the amenities meeting, then that can be discussed at the meeting.
Or maybe we invite them to the next meeting
to get involved,
and then we could discuss with them.
Because I think lots of these things need a community champion. You know, as councils, it's difficult to do everything. You need somebody who's willing to get the sleeves rolled up and get stuck in and do it. So I think if there is somebody out there who wants to do it, that's fantastic.
To invite to defer to the and invite residents to us.
Yeah.
Can I get a show of hands for that? So to invite that resident and defer to village ministers. Yeah, all in favour? Thank you. The next one, which is listed as 7, which again is the Low Ackworth Community Centre. So I see it as we've already moved that forward for consideration for the SIL. So that's just one of the 8 that are similar. So I'll move on. The same for the next one as number 8, if that's okay. Is that okay with everyone, by the way? Because they're all complementing one another. So, and that's the same for 9. And then we have the Outward Primary Academy on Bell Lane and proposals included in the pack. So comments on that one then, please. John.
Well, my initial reading of it is, I think, you know, their academies, they've got access to money outside, from the academy group, massive and extremely wealthy academy group. I don't think we should be subsidising.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, any,
I think,
Amanda, yeah?
I think when we've got a community building in the state that we have that's unusable,
Mm-hmm.
so many of the village are going to benefit from having that as opposed to sort of tinkering with little bits of schools. I think it's just
Yeah.
no contest really.
Fair. Any other comments?
My only comment would be, if we talk a lot about enhancement, and enhancement for early years isn't surfacing mechanically. It's actually, enhancement means what facilities you actually put out for children to learn to play.
Right.
So that's a bit of an issue for me, because actually it keeps you free with the structure to then be able to put enhanced activities in.
Sure.
Do you see what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
That's fine.
So would we like to leave that one, have it discussed by another committee and maybe work with, like,
No.
I mean, the schools all have their own infrastructures and support groups. I think we should just leave it to them to do the school things.
sure. Okay, votes in favour of leaving that one, then not for the cell specials. Okay. How many about 6? Abstentions? 2 abstentions? Yeah. Okay. So we'll move on from Outwood Primary on Bell Lane. The next one is Ackworth Howard School. So again, this might follow the same route that we've just run down. The more detailed proposals were in the past. Comments on that one then? So, yeah.
I've got more sympathy with this one because it isn't an academy school. So its budget, it's a church, voluntary aided church school. Its budget is whatever it gets as, state school. So I've got more sympathy with that, and it is, the way it's described, it's an essential part of the provision. The provision is dangerous, as I describe it at the moment, but I'm not sure that I would want to put money into it instead of putting it to Low Ackworth.
Right, yep.
Low Ackworth Community
Okay.
Centre. And I do have a bit of a thing about the schools not supporting parish council activities in general, really. We reach out to them, don't we? And we get very little back, to be honest. It's not kind of thinking we need to punish, but should be a two-way flow, shouldn't it, really?
I do agree with that comment. It would be nice if there was more of a collaborative approach, which I don't always think there is. Amanda and then Sharon, yeah.
Also, I think because we've got other schools in the village, we've got 4 schools, so we'd have to really be fair to all of them, and they've probably all got projects that they could develop
Yeah.
if they were given a pot of money. So yeah, I think it's probably best that we give it to something where we're going to get a significant benefit, clear benefit.
Sure. Yeah. Sharon, yeah.
You know, it's just to say that on the back of Sarah's just saying about liaison with schools, as you know, we are at the moment as a council trying to reconnect with all the schools in Ackworth, and Emma and myself have been emailing the schools so that they know how proactive we are. We want them to reconnect with the council so that I think moving forward we can help them with this sort of stuff. And I just think it's a shame that both schools have got issues with outdoor provision for early years, which is absolutely the most vital age for our children. And the funding from either academy or local authority isn't going where it should be, and it should be for those young children. And you can't access high quality play if the area isn't safe. So I feel full sympathy for both schools actually. So I don't want it to come across that we're being a bit heavy-handed or not kind, and we are. And I think if we can really persuade them to come on board with us moving forward, to reconnect with us and join in, as Sarah said, with all of the events we put on, it works both ways then, doesn't it? And I think we can really say, look, come on, we know about these proposals you've put in. What can we do then as part of all the fundraising and events that we're running Ackworth to really help you with this? Because it's absolutely vital that these little children at Bell Lane and at Ackworth Howard School have the best start that they can. And
Yeah,
it's through
100%.
early years outdoor play without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, Amanda,
I
yeah.
just wonder if maybe we should suggest to them that we do some kind of fundraising at the gala.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously we have a stand there, don't we? So
yeah.
we could.
They could come if they wanted
Yeah.
to.
Yeah,
Amanda.
well, maybe this will be the.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
we had. I mean,
Yeah.
in the previous 4 years, before you were there, Sharon, we did go into the schools. We
Yeah.
donated
Yeah.
bird
Mm.
feeding stations.
Yeah, yeah.
All sorts of things. We've been in and donated and given
Yeah.
speeches to them, and
Yeah.
so it's not for want
I know.
of trying and trying to get them involved in the fancy dress. So maybe
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
would
it
be
might a start.
a way in if they are needing to raise funds and we can help them raise the funds.
Mhm.
But this, and it's a relatively small pot of money that we've got. So if we divvy it up into even smaller bits, I don't think we're going to get the net benefit that the village really needs. That centre will benefit a huge number of people
Yeah.
of all ages, you know, the mums and toddlers groups and the countrywomen, the artists, the keep fitters, the people who are voting. It's just a lot of people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah, one suggestion I might have then was based on what we've said about the schools. I think maybe if we have a discussion point at village events about engaging with the schools in the village and the specific proposal about them having a stall to, I don't know, maybe raise funds and that sort of thing. I think that might be worthwhile, just so we're getting something productive out of the suggestion that's been put forward.
Yeah, it's, I
shall
think the plan sort of in place is that the plan is to, we've already emailed the schools to suggest a reconnection, going back to what Amanda said they did, Oodles and Doodles years ago.
No, we felt it recently. We
Yeah.
kept it up. We have
Yeah.
kept going in.
And then Emma's got a couple of dates that she wants to send out to the schools to actually invite them in to see if their heads, you know, get the head teachers to see if they'll come on board. And obviously that email will go out to all the councils.
Get the heads together.
Because if you get the head teachers, hopefully it will drag everybody else along. That's the
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
And then that will be shared with all the councillors to come on and hopefully get back to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jackie,
Just a little bit to add to support Sharon. We're definitely seeing a little bit more movement forward because just this week Darline have reached out to us because their year 3 are doing a litter picking event. So they've asked us for litter pickers to support, which we have done through Wakefield Council, and Wakefield Council are delivering them some litter pickers for that event.
Good.
So there is definitely some traction moving forward in the right direction.
That's good. So broadly in agreement to have maybe an item on at the next village event, just to maybe discuss it a little bit further and see if there's anything new that can come up. Just broadly show of hands in favour of that. Thank you. Yeah. So that then moves us on to 12, 13, 14 and 15, which are all about Ackworth as well, of which we've already had a discussion about that that's being moved forward to consideration. By now, that does bring us on to, where is that? So we've then got the office team suggestion, which this was on the guidance notes. For consideration, we would like to offer a reconfigured Carbridge pavilion to combine the community room and 2 change rooms to create a larger function room with dedicated storage facility. So basically it's about a reconfiguration of Carbridge. To basically make the space more viable, and obviously we did have the Ackworth Jaguars, but they need to have like some hosting ability down there in order to host some of their games. So that suggestion would help.
What would happen for the changing rooms then?
Yeah.
They will.
So I will answer your question, but I was just going to say, Chair, in light of obviously how we've dealt with these, I fully appreciate that's not a cost proposal, and actually it should go to village amenities for further exploration and see what funding's out there. So if it's okay, Chair and Council agree, I'll put this through village amenities because it's one actually of the multiple ones that the residents come up with anyway.
Yeah.
But just to answer Stephen, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
We don't actually currently always use all of the changing rooms. Very often we will use 2. And the challenge on the building is how small the front room is. So this would be to look at that challenge basically to make it not just a sports pavilion horrible space, have it big enough where maybe art might want to go down there, or children's parties and use the outdoor play area. It would be just to make it more versatile. But like I said, I appreciate it's not, I haven't got an instruction to cost it, so I couldn't quite put it on for this proposal, but I would like to have it on Council's radar that we would like to, through the delegated power that I have for exploring funding, like to move that forward for review.
Andy, yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, in terms of having the council power, in 2022, the council, I know it was a different council, did agree to look at getting plans built, drawn up for extending Carbridge. And that was approved by the full council. So there almost is a bit of a precedent there anyway for it.
Yeah. No, fair. We did definitely look at that. And obviously.
Yeah, it was agreed at some point.
Sarah,
Just on that, I don't think we said we were going to do it. I thought the, which club was it?
It was the Jaguars.
The Jaguars
Jaguars
came to us to say, could they seek funding to extend it, so it wasn't anything that we committed ourselves to. I don't think we did.
Yeah, there was. I think it was pre that in 2022. It was agreed.
I think we were all in
Yeah.
favour of it as a concept.
Yeah. Well, I know it's different, but it's kind of linked. Yeah.
I know it was definitely a project that I think broadly lots of people in support of that sort of idea. Because the function room at Carbridge, it is too small for like hosting in there and that sort of thing, so it doesn't quite fit the purpose. I know that I think it was like as a general sort of project to look at, and if we have some costings it might help move it forward, but I don't think we committed to like anything financial, or there was nothing concrete. It was just
it was to get plans drawn up, I think was what it said.
Yeah,
when the Jaguars were to put, or wanted to put a multiple building to the side of it.
That's what
Yes.
we considered,
I think there was some mention of it several years ago.
So
Yes.
it looks like one for discussion, so if that's okay to move to village amenities.
Yes, so with the office team suggestion, I would add the other community buildings as well, because I know that we've certainly, in general conversation, had that discussion about Bracken Hill Community Centre in terms of how that building works and functions, because that space just doesn't, it's not generous on the space, is it? It's just not great. But yeah, so if that could be added as well to village amenities. Can I just get broad agreement on that to move that into village amenities? Thank you. Okay, having gone through those, we've only put one item forward for the silver funding. Obviously that's pending the lease, of course. Just so we know that, so far we are really putting forward one idea, by my calculation.
That's right, Chair.
Yes. So would we be in agreement to, basically pending the lease agreement coming through, basically that funding, the unallocated silver funding being allocated to Low Ackworth, then seeing as out of the suggestions when we put forward?
Well, there's only one on the table.
Yeah,
so
I just think we need to, because we're working through them, so I just think we need to finalise that, and just have that fully confirmed. Andy, yeah?
I'm not disagreeing with that, but given what we've just said about others and amenities, do we have to make a decision tonight?
That's kind of what I'm asking.
I'm in favour of it, but I don't know if we have to, and if maybe that kind of just changes things a little bit, that's all.
Sarah?
No, sorry, no.
No.
I think.
John, yeah?
I think we've been through the options. We've put all the we've looked at all the options and covered all the options by either moving things to amenities or further discussion, or things haven't been costed. The only one thing that has been costed and has been voted on is the local community centre. I think we should, if we commit that money to it, all the rest of the things we've discussed are going to be discussed in further in amenities and in other groups. So I would want that to be done and dusted, really, the allocated money.
I'll just bring Lynn in and then Sarah.
I was going to say, I can't see any reason to not make the decision tonight. It seems like a fairly logical thing to do. And I also think it's not that much money. So if we start hiving it off into little amounts, we'll do no good with anything. I think we'd be better giving it to one project that we see as benefiting a large amount of the village.
Yeah.
Okay. Sarah,
Can I propose then that we have
stealing my thunder.
a confirmation, that we have a vote to confirm that we are putting the funding, the remaining funding towards Low Ackworth. So I'd like to, I know we voted on it already, that we support the project, but I'd just like to vote to confirm, having considered all the rest and agreed ways to move on with those, that we vote to confirm that we give all the money to Low Ackworth community.
So a confirmation vote, basically we've gone through all the options, confirmation vote, that there's only one option we've put forward, and so to confirm that.
I'll second.
Yeah.
John seconding. Does that cover everything here?
It's a full proposal, isn't it? To confirm it's going to Low Ackworth.
Okay, so that's been proposed and seconded. Can I get votes in favour of that then, please? All votes are 7. 7? Against? 1 against.
Yeah,
No.
let's see that lease first.
Yeah, it is pending the lease, of course. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Item 13 then. To consider the current supplier energy renewal for April 2025 across all sites and to receive term quotation options to decide a course of action. And we have this in the packs. And there is... Do you see something? Yeah. And in the guidance notes, the office recommendation is to renew with the same supplier whilst funding exploration into solar panels continues. Do you want to expand on that?
A full review was done last year. We only signed for a 12-month because of the market. They're still competitive. They're still serving as well as an energy supplier. They are a green supplier, which obviously is one that we need. But ultimately, my aim this year is to find funding for solar panels to get those bills right down anyway. So that's why we've offered the same supplier with different options. So obviously they're all there for the council as the fixed terms that are on the page, and all of the sites have been included. So really tonight is about whether council agree to stay with the same supplier, and if so, what they would like to fix the term at.
So, okay. Comment? Andrew,
Sorry. Do we have to have the same contract term for across all sites, or can we go for a different contract term at different sites? Because looking at the costs site by site, the benefits for some of them to have a longer one and some for a shorter one.
Yeah.
It's up to council.
Oh, okay. Right. I didn't know if we had one contract that covered everybody. All of them. That was all. Or
No, the different sites. However, what I would say is, from an administration viewpoint, it is easier to administer them all in the same go and competitively go out. So if we're talking about minimal saving, just make sure we're balancing it with the cost expenditure to do that.
I appreciated that some of the 18-month ones look reasonably attractive, but that would really screw up the office admin time, I realise, because that's halfway, 12 or 24 months is one thing, but something in the middle just makes it worse, doesn't
That's
it?
exactly what I'm trying to say. Compare apples to apples because of cost, time and staff.
Yeah. Any proposals then?
Green Octopus 24-month fix.
There we go.
Sounds alright.
There we go.
Well,
I would agree with that, apart from Bracken Hill, where we're much better to just go for 12 months for some reason, which I didn't quite understand.
none, they've been cunning, haven't they? None of them are perfect.
Yeah,
across the
no,
board.
no, but that was partly the reason for my question, was that for Bracken Hill,
Yeah.
the 12-month one seems a lot better, particularly with no standing charge for something that we don't really use. So hopefully we wouldn't have much cost at all.
Yeah.
So I'll take that as a proposal from Amanda then. Green Octopus 24-month fix.
Well, choose whichever one. They're all really not that far apart. We could do with a calculator.
Can we not do 24 for 3 sites and the 12 month for Bracken Hill? Is that too complicated administratively?
That's the one I would propose,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah,
That 12 months for Bracken Hill and 24 for the others.
I support that, Chair, given the fact that we do need to review Bracken Hill as an
Yeah.
unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be too taxing on staff time?
Okay, so I'll take that as a proposal then, Sarah.
Is that all right with
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Councillor?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So three venues on the Green Octopus 24-month fix, and then Bracken Hill would be
12
12
12
month.
month.
Yeah,
12 months.
12 month business.
Yeah,
no
the no
standing
the no
charge.
SC 12 business 12
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
Seconder for that. Lynn seconding. Thank you. Votes in favour then, please. Thank you, full house. Thank you. Item 14, to receive correspondence from a resident and decide the course of action. So this was it the advisory?
Yes, Chair.
And it's essentially about car parking when the football's on at Carbridge, and obviously this lady has to go into the road because of abilities and so on. One suggestion that has been brought forward is to open the gate like we do it on the Ackworth Gala Day to allow cars on there. There is the potential then, would we be liable for car damage and that sort of thing, depending on, so there are those sort of questions that I think we should consider. And again, who'd allocate the car parking spaces out, who'd be responsible for that, because I know on Gala Day that's us and the staff that sort of like do that. The other thing that I would like considered would be to engage with the doctor's surgery, because their car park is just opposite. It's just a case of them leaving the gate open for that car park to be used, because it's empty. And I think it is anyway, but we need to have it confirmed before we can clarify a bit. Are there any comments? So Sharon and Stephen?
Do the teams have somebody who supervises the car parking? Because they should have, really, shouldn't they? You know what I mean? Like,
Not at the moment.
well, perhaps we could say that suggestion that well, if you are going to use the pictures, you must make sure that the cars are parked appropriately so that people can get through. I don't know. That would be easy to organise, I'm sure. Get a couple of parents to the teams to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the only other thing about parking on the field is if it's really wet and
Yeah.
muddy,
Yeah,
it's going to really shoot, isn't it?
I think
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
don't know.
I'll bring Stephen in
Yeah.
first, and then I'll work my way down.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
Steve?
possibly we should need some notices up to state exactly what the rules are for the car park. It is a problem as well, seeing traffic just standing for a short time there, and they stop to watch the match for a few minutes, but just park at the side of the road or on the pavement.
Yeah.
That's outside. It's difficult to stop that, because although it is illegal to park on the pavement, and on the radio in the summer that the only police authority that have been willing to start to enforce that were Edinburgh.
It's a bit far for them to come as well, isn't it?
But, you know, if it's illegal to do it, but the law won't do anything about it, it's a bit tricky to, as to what to do.
Yeah. I agree, it's tricky.
And it is a problem, well, not only there, but from the zebra crossing through to the front of the boat and show, there are a lot of cars parking onto the pavement now, which is not easy for people with with scooters, and after the gala a couple of years ago, a resident on the Riddings estate came to me and said, could I do something about his wife had to go onto the road to get round cars parked on the pavement in Riddings, and someone who was upset that she was only going slowly on the scooter got out of his car, dragged her off it, moved the scooter between two cars and left him go.
I mean,
You know,
this
this
is
is something that's going on all over, but we
Yeah.
don't, we don't want to start to add to it, so...
it's a tricky one as to what we can do as well. Sarah, and then Lynn.
Unfortunately, this has been going on for as long as I can remember, and for as long as I can remember, periodically, letters have been the team organisers, the match organisers have been contacted and asked to monitor the traffic, the parking, and to ask parents to park responsibly, and yet, you know, might be improve for a bit, but then it goes back to how it was. That's first point. Second point about the field, well, 2 points about the field. One, Ackworth School would probably have to get permission from them, and I'm not sure they'd like it.
No.
And two, I'm sorry to say, I wouldn't want to rely on the people attending the football matches to park responsibly on the field, really, to stay in the area that we've said they ought to stay in. I'm sorry, but that's how people are.
Yeah.
And I think it just might cause... So it seems like a good solution, but unless it was managed like it is at the gala,
Yes.
I think there'd just be cars parking any old wherever they chose, really.
Yeah.
So-
I agree. Lynn?
It's not just that side of it, is it? It's all the way round, because all along Mill Lane they park all the way
Yeah.
down there, and that's dangerous because it turns it into a one-way road when it's not supposed to
Yes.
be a one-way road. Children, anyone who lots of children around the school across to that part, across to the playing fields, they won't be able to see between all those parked cars. And then there's the problem on the main road. So the actual problem, you're not going to change it by asking people to behave nicely, because they won't, because there's nowhere to park. People only behave nicely if they get a good option. So the only thing to do is to explore alternative parking. And I think it would be a really good idea to approach Dr. Surgery and see if that could be used, and then
Yeah.
advertise that to them.
Thank you.
They
Andy?
might be liable as
Oh,
well,
no.
of course, if people park in their car park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I think there's certainly a reasonable idea in them parking on the field, but maybe what we would have to do, and it's quite a large expense potentially, is actually gravel an area and fence it off. Because at least then they would be in that right area and hopefully wouldn't get stuck too much. Because largely the use is in the winter, which is the time when it's worst for doing it. So it's a possibility, but I think we couldn't just say open the gate. We'd need to make sure it was reasonable
Yeah.
for the longer term, for us anyway, to do that.
Yeah.
All I was going to say was that Ackworth School might have something to say
Well,
about that.
there-
They don't
obviously
have some
that,
input
yeah.
to
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
reduce the field. So could the first step not be to write to the various teams and ask them, flag up the problem and the complaint that we've had, and make them aware that there's a car park at Bell Lane, it's not very far to walk at all, as well as a doctor's surgery, so they've got two. Maybe we ask them to put some signage out, if they do a little poster to say please park, and if they can email or on their WhatsApp groups or whatever, all the parents, let them know that please park at Bell Lane, and all the doctors, if we can get permissions from doctor's surgery.
Yeah. I'll bring you in a second,
Yeah, no.
Trevor, if that's all right. Sharon and John? No? John? Just you, John?
I was just thinking, it's a complicated issue. I think really the environment and road safety ought to be looking at where the parking is, because it's an issue when it's football days. What Wakefield Council have done is, on Bell Lane car park, is put a big sign up outlining their responsibilities and what the car park is supposed to be used for. I think maybe the environment, the road safety people committee ought to look into maybe us costing up some signage outlining our responsibilities, saying something like, this is a car park, putting it on Cambridge, car park for, use of Cambridge playing fields, etc., etc. There is alternative parking on Bell Lane, free alternative car parking on Bell Lane and possibly the doctor's surgery if we get permission for that. And leave it at that, then our responsibility is covered. I think looking into maybe, gravelling part of the field, we'd have to liaise with, that's a much longer sort of thing. And it can very costly, and certainly the Quaker School won't pay for it, even though we're selling all the land off, they won't pay for that, I'm sure. But that may be in the future we can look into that, but it's certainly not on our budget at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, tell me.
Chair, all I was literally going to say is we have within the last 3 months contacted the user groups about the parking because Village Amenities dealt with a similar complaint. The reason why I've put this on the main council agenda is because of the circumstances with the mobility scooter on this one. But as I've gone round the table, there is issues on Mill Lane and on the main stretch of the road. We haven't previously promoted the doctor's surgery, so if that's the decision from this evening and we speak to the doctor's surgery and we can do that, then that's an option to do. And as you can see, we're just looking for some solution, but listening to the table, actually the field parking probably isn't the first option at the moment, and it is used in the main in the winter, which is when it's at its wettest as well, so yeah, probably not the best suggestion.
Right, okay.
Can I just add one comment?
Yeah.
I mean, I think, yes, contacting the user groups, but maybe we really need to push with the user groups to have it on every single communication they send out to their parents and potential spectators about match locations. Park responsibly. Don't park on pavements. Don't block other people. Park responsibly and have it as a main message. There's no good saying it in February and once, is it really? You have to say it all the time.
Okay, so just judging by going round, so I think there's a suggestion about looking into the doctor's surgery and maybe putting that forward and communicate with the user groups to promote the doctor's surgery as well as Bell Lane. So I think that's something we should be communicating out and pushing forward, and also to have this is maybe a regular item on the road safety agenda to look into other ideas, as they may come up as a regular sort of thing, because I suppose it's not just the when the football's played either, I know St Cuthbert's when they've got their services on, for example, there's parking issues up there. Whenever an area's busy, you get parking issues, don't you? So I think we need to maybe have it as a regular item on the road safety as well.
Because we've had complaints about Station Road as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty busy out here tonight too.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that. Not for our meeting though, that's what we...
Well, no, it's a user group, isn't it? But it is always busy Monday nights, yeah.
Can I just get a broad vote in favour of doing that then? So we've got a general item on the road safety agenda, but for the office team to get in contact with the doctor's surgery and to contact the user groups to promote that if permission can be agreed. So we won't be looking at the opening the gate in the field, that won't be looked at. So just in favour of that then, please. Thank you.
And sorry, will this be communicated back to the residents? The discussion with them?
That's what we're doing, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's the important bit. Thank you. And that's everything. Thank you very much, everyone.